Thank you very much. Okay, so I said Parashas Miketz Tavshin Peves. Let's go back to the second question. First question was, why did they fight Binyamin outside of Mitzrayim, which would have been a lot easier than to go back to Mitzrayim and fight from within when they're surrounded by all the powerful soldiers of Mitzrayim. The Midrash says Yosef by himself had 600 soldiers, and the power of this soldier, the way it's described in the Midrash, it's like they were all Goliath, all of them. So why would you go there? You have a handful. Why would you put yourself in a situation which is hopeless? There's no positive outcome. You will lose Binyamin. We'll see exactly what it means losing Binyamin and what Yehuda did. But right now, we're going to remain on the surface. You will lose Binyamin. If you will lose Binyamin, there's no Mashiach. There's no one to free the last generations. We'll prove the point very, very shortly. Very shortly. Binyamin, the Midrash says, served his father instead of Yosef. Served his father means, now we're going to go a little bit higher, means that he became the Yesod. He became the one who's going to feed the Mashiach ben David the power to bring salvation to the last generation. We're going to go deep into this. Trust me, we went into it the past few weeks, but this time we're going to close. We're having a closure on this. You need the same way the moon is really dark. The Malchus also has nothing of its own, has no light. It's only on the receiving end, receiving from the sun, which is always the Yesod. The sun is the Yesod, shining on the Malchus, sending light and all the Shefa to the Malchus, at which turn the Malchus send it down to the Bnei Israel. That's the way it works. But I will share a document with you that you will see a lot clearer. But I just want to sit and dig into that question, because this is what's happening to people over and over in their life. And they don't know, they panic when they get into these situations, and they do all kind of crazy things when the door is really next to them. You're in a situation, rationally, there is no possibility of good outcome. Ch'mana litzlan, someone has stage 4, the machla. Someone got fired of his job and he's a certain age, and he is really in the time of need. He may lose his house, he may chas v'shalom. We should not know these tsars, but tsars like this, where they pull you down, they prevent you from going up, and you take in so much into the problem that basically you say, my only exit from this is down in the ground. Yehuda went back to Mitzrayim to teach his children and the last generation. Don't be afraid in those situations. I'm going to show you how to get out of a situation like this. This is going to be the whole message between Yehuda and Yosef. Interesting, the words don't seem to lend themselves to these kind of explanations, but you will see that we do not have to force this shot in the pasuk. It will fit in like a glove on the explanation. First words of the Zohar this week, a pasuk in Yeshaya, and the Zohar wants to explain Vayigash elav Yehuda. I'm not going to speak about dwell onto the Vayigash elav Yehuda tonight. I want to have a closure on the Inyan. What we're going to speak on more, it's Velo Yachol Yosef leisapek, when Yosef revealed himself to his brothers. It's kind of, the pasuk don't make sense if you translate the words. But the whole confrontation and the coming into Mitzrayim start with Vayigash Rabbi Yehuda. The pasuk says in Yeshaya, Bnei Israel will tell, Ki ata avinu, you are our father. When we talk to Yitzchak, we say, we're going to tell him at the end of time, you are our father. Why? Why Avram is not our father? Yaakov is not our father? No, they're not our father. Ki Avram lo yedan. Avram did not recognize us. It's like ignored us. Yisrael lo yakirenu. Yaakov, it's like he never knew us. Ato Hashem. Now we're changing the language. Before it was Ato Avinu. Now we say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ato Hashem Avinu. You, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you are our fathers. Goya Leinu. Me'olam shemecha. You provide salvation and your name is forever. We're going to say twice in the pasuk, Ki Ato Avinu. One time to Yitzchak, one time to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm just going to go with the pshat, the Metzudos, which is the Rashi on the Nach, explaining this pasuk. The complaint of the Bnei Israel is when, and I'm going to add a little bit of Zohar inside, like this, we're going to save a bit of time. We can go to the end of where I want to talk. When Avram dreamt or went through the bris Pesach, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, Ki ger yeh zaracha. We're going to go through a lot of galuyas. By the way, this whole parasha is taking us through Shmoneh Esrei, all the kavanos of Shmoneh Esrei. If you take Umeivi Goyel, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring the Goyel. Meivi is what letter? Mem, Madai. Beis, Bavel. Yud, Yavan. Aleph, Edoim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring us a Goyel that's going to free us from all the Galuyas. And, I don't want to go too much in the Kavanas, but we're really going to go through the Shmoneh Esrei here in this parasha. So, Avram didn't daven for us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling you something really nasty about your children. It's really going to be hard. We got a lot of us are going to die. We're not talking about us. We're talking about Rabbi Akiva. We're talking about the Asara Gemarchus, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol. Who can think of this? His son, his daughter, and so on and so on and so on. Rabbi Shimshon Mostropoli, the list is the 6 million in the camps. Avram Avinu, you're a chesed. There's no ounce inside you that is din. How did you not daven for us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself? The fifth midah of the 13 attributes is verav chesed. It has a lot of chesed. And this rav chesed can contain all the avoinus of the Bnei Yisrael and wipe them out. However, when it comes to Yishmael, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu told you about Yishmael, what did you do? Avram Avinu, Lu Yishmael yichye lefanecha. Please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, let Yishmael live before you. Oh, really? For Yishmael, you go daven. For the Bnei Yisrael, you don't daven. So Bnei Yisrael are going to say, you know what? Avram Avinu, we don't know you. You don't know us? We don't know you. Mind-boggling, right? Same thing for Yaakov. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes to Yaakov, and says, Banecha chatu. The sin, what do you want to do? He went in Shamayim, he saw the Sulam, he is on the Kisei. All the Malachim are scared to approach him and look at even his effigy on the Kisei covered with the word. He would have saved millions of us. No. I do nothing. But Yitzchak Avinu, which is really the din, the gvura, he will step in. Let's jump in the Gemara in Shabbos Peites. The Gemara says it a little bit differently. So at the end of time, Yoyim HaGadol v'Hanoira, what Yeshaya says in the pasuk, Hine anoichi sheleach lachem es Eliyahu Hanavi, I will send you Eliyahu Hanavi, lifnei bo Yoyim HaGadol v'Hanoira, before the terrible day, which is the Yoyim Hadin HaGadol. If we think Yom Kippur is scary, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to come and a Sefer Torah in his chest, holding a Sefer Torah, this is called Yoyim Hadin HaGadol v'Hanoira. And so HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to ask the obvious first. What do I do? They sin. Avram answers, Yimachu al Kedusha Shemecha. Let them be wiped out on Kiddush Hashem. Baruch says, whoa, it's a tough answer. They go to Yaakov. Yaakov had problem with his children, so maybe he's more connected to the children and so forth. He says, Yaakov, banecha chatu, and gives him the same answer. Yimachu al Kedusha Shemecha. Let them be wiped out. Wow. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, you know what? Neither the old nor the young are Baal Eitzah. Let's go to the middle. So he goes to Yitzchak Avinu. And Yitzchak Avinu says, what do you mean they sin? He says, yes, they sin. How much can they sin already? So he goes into a calculation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, look, a person lives 7 years. 20 years of this already, which is a 21st year, he's not punished. So left what? 50 years. 25 years of your 50 years a night. So they're sleeping. So they don't sleep. So now we remain with 25 years. 25 years, the davening, the eating, bathroom time. That's the Gemara says that, not me. And so forth. Half is gone. 12 and a half years. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you don't want to take the whole thing yourself, let's split it. I'll take six years and a quarter. You take 6 years and a quarter. And if you don't even want to take this, I take the 12 and a half years. I says, I should have enough merit, to wipe out their sins for 12 and a half years. And Hashem will accept that. Amazing. What happened to Avram? What happened to Midas HaChesed? He used to have strangers coming and looking at them and running after them, even sick and whatever. But his children, Yimachu al Kedusha Shemecha. The Mahashar here comes and gives a pshat, tremendous pshat. I'm going to be able to tell you just a tiny bit because we're limited in time, a little bit of the Mahashar, tremendous. He explains like this. He says, the truth is, we don't really have a complaint on Avram and Yaakov. We just cannot rely upon their answer. He says the meaning of their words could be twofold. Either Yimachu al Kedusha Shemecha means the Bnei Israel, or it could be Yimachu al Kedusha Shemecha, the Chataim, the sins. So which one do you mean? And because of that, we cannot rely upon it. We know from the Rechaim HaKadosh, those who remember, I didn't remember it, so I don't expect you to remember. On Vayeschanan, he learned 4 attributes in Tefillah to be accepted. From Moshe Rabbeinu, he learns 4 attributes. The second attribute he brings down is your Tefillah should be clear. When you demand something, watch out that your Tefillah is unclear, because if it's accepted, you get both meanings coming down at you. Therefore, your tefillah, when you ask something to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have to wait and use the exact words and don't let any meaning interfere with it. Because if your tefillah is accepted, you're going to have the full package. Now, according to the Zohar HaKodesh, this Maharsha makes sense. Since the tefillah of Avram and Yaakov was not clear, even if they had a good intention, we cannot rely upon it because it's double-sided, and we don't want to have the second side coming at us. Therefore, we let go. However, Yitzchak Avinu came up with the right approach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he got our sins wiped out. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, if your sins are red, like red wool, they will be white as snow. That's why he says at the beginning of the pasuk, Ki ata Avinu, without saying Hashem, because we refer to Yitzchak Avinu, and at the end of the pasuk we refer to Hashem by saying Ki ata Hashem Avinu, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepted it and then wiped out our sins. That's how it's going to happen at the end of times. Doesn't answer us why Avraham Avinu didn't daven for us on Bris Beis HaBesarim. It doesn't answer us neither. So we have this episode happening at two folds. In Bris Beis HaBesarim and Le'asid Lavo before the Yom HaGadol, the Yom Adin, the big Yom Adin that's going to come before by the time of Mashiach. So we have the two folds, and we've been arguing with Avram. According to the Marsha, you answered the second one. But on the first one, when he was Bris Beis HaBesarim, you daven right there. You daven for Ishmael. You don't daven for the Bnei Yisrael. What's wrong? On this, the Marsha says, Avraham Avinu saw what is the punishment of a Rasha in the next world. And he said, there's no price high enough to pay in this world. If anything is placed upon us in this world, should be accepted besimcha. Because the alternative to be paid back in the next world, that would be a tragedy. Avraham Avinu saw Yishmael is a donkey. He understands nothing. He lives here, and then after that, that's it. By us who live in the other world, we want to come with the levusha de Rabbanan. When we put the talis on in the morning, we are putting the cloth that we're going to have walking in the Gan Eden. That very talis that we put on in the morning, that's going to be the levush. That tefillin that we put on our head, the tefillin shel Rosh, which is Yosef, the tefillin shel Yar, which is Yehuda, we need them both to make the mitzvah. This is going to be our levush in Gan Eden. People don't realize these mitzvahs are not for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Can't care less about tefillas. It's for us. We're building up. We're creating our clothing for the next world. We're preparing already, with all these mitzvahs, we're preparing in order not to be ashamed and to have a torah cloth or whatever. It's called Chalukah de Rabbanan, to look like the other Talmidei Chachamim, which they have a talis. So when we wear the talis, we have to keep in mind, I want to do that mitzvah because this is going to be my cloth for the next world. We understand Avraham Avinu and the Cheshbon. The Cheshbon was, despite the cost and the misery we're going through in this world, it's only a fraction of the pain, misery, and shame that could have happened in the next world. That's the pshat of the Maharsha. Tremendous. Question is, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have 13 attributes of mercy. The fifth one is Verav Chesed. you have abundance of chesed. Take it upon yourself. What is Verav Chesed? Happy to. As Hashem, one day we'll get organized. We'll have even what is called this on this software PowerPoints. You know, then I could share with you. You see here, call me Verav Chesed. Sorry for the thing. Equals 280. Correct? This is the value of Verav Chesed. What does he do when HaKadosh Baruch Hu applies this attribute? It's Oyer HaChaim. First of all, you are in life. You are holding the Eitz HaChaim, and on top of this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu shines upon you. So this is what happens. This is what happens when you have this. On the other hand, so the way in Shemaim the forces are built up, you have on the right the Eitz HaChaim, on the left the tree of death, and all of them have 10 spheres. You never seen that? I don't know if I know how to share. Dudi, can you open your microphone to show me how to share a document? Okay, I guess.
Yeah, one second. Okay.
Last time we did it, I don't remember.
You see in the middle. You see in the middle. I'm on my phone, so you see in the middle. It says share.
I don't have nothing saying share.
Yeah, on your screen, on your main screen, there should be a share button.
It's a green button.
Dots.
Oh yeah, share. Thank you. Share.
You could share your screen, or you could share a certain
Okay, now
tab.
you see this? Is it shared? Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if you see my mouse here. This is where Yosef. I'm going to give you a little explanation here. This is the Ein Sof. We don't know what's going on. This is the Keser. We don't talk about it. We just know that the three part of the head, like we have ourselves, and we stay there. Then the oil goes, these are all the side of Chesed. Mean there is no din whatsoever. Avram Avinu is here. This is the side of Yitzchak Avinu. The din, when the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, it was Hoid. Lag BaOmer is Hoid. Whenever bad things happen, you look at the sphere, it's always here. Good thing happens, we're in that side. In the middle is Yaakov Avinu here. So Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Yosef, Yehuda. So the same tree, this is called Eitz HaChaim, exists with different names, right parallel to it, same height, same power for the Klippa and everything. It's represented, now I want to close this, stop share. So it's represented by the last letters, I mean the end letters. So we have Chaf and the Chaf. We have Mem and the Mem. So the and the Mem is Din, and the Chaf is Din. We have Nun and the Nun. Nun and the Nun is Din. We have Pei and the Pei, Din. We have Tzaddik and the Tzaddik. So we call these letters Manspach and the Mem and the Nun and the Tzaddik and the Pei and the Chaf. Equals also 280, like Verav Chesed, just to show you the power of the din. And just to give you, I told you it was on the good side, it was Orachaim, on the bad side is Balak, Bilam. What do you think Balak and Bilam got together? They did not intend to fight the Bnei Yisrael physically. They knew the koyach comes from above. They were trying to fight the Midah that provides them the power. Verav chesed. That's the midah. The same way we have said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates at a time when a person is in distress, when a person he cannot anymore. There's no rational for him to find a good solution to his problem. Impossible. The only outcome is down below. I told you Yehuda is going to show us how to get out of this situation. If you remember 2 weeks ago in Parasha Vayigash, no, it was Parasha Vayigash. In the Maaseh of Yehuda and Tamar, it was last week. It was Maaseh Yehuda and Tamar. We said, the Pasuk said that they met in Pesach Enaim. And the Midrash said, Pesach Enaim, there's no such a place. We looked all over in all the maps, all the Tanakh. We never mentioned that name, Pesach Enaim. And we said, what? Pesach Enaim. Let me show you that again. If you see Pesach Enaim equals 670. And we said Yehuda and Tamar equals 670. HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates spaces. But when? How do I get to these spaces? How do I become deserveful to be, at a level? I'm not the best guy. I'm not going every day to shul. I'm not doing this every day perfectly well. Sometimes my phone rings middle of the night and I'm looking at my WhatsApp and answer my WhatsApp. I'm not perfect. Can I get to these places? Not today. I need Hashem to step in. There's no other way out of this. What do I do in order to? So at the beginning of the year, I told you that we're going through the Kavanas and the Yichudim of Shemona Esrei in a way that's really, really mind-boggling. For instance, I mentioned that we have Tfilin Shel Rosh, Tfilin Shel Yad. Kisra de Malka, the Keser of the Melech, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has Tfilin, and like him, we have Tfilin. This is called the crown of the king. Malchus on the arm, Yesod on the head. Yehuda, Yosef. Why do I need them both together? I understand the picture, about the Mashiach ben Yosef, the Mashiach ben David. The Mashiach ben Yosef has the power of Geula. He's the Goyel. Who does the Geula? Always the feminine, Tzedek, Tzedakah. The Tzedek is in the Yesod, Tzedakah in the Malchus. When he gives, he always gives Tzedek. And he becomes, because the Yud Ke Vav Ke, the last He is Malchus. You see, always adding a He to every word that we see. Goyel, Geula. Anything we're going to be adding to it. So, how does this? I understand we need them both. Yehuda and Yosef, Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David. Mashiach ben David without Mashiach ben Yosef, it's like talking about empty suit. Chaz v'shalom talk like this, but that's what the power comes from the Mashiach ben Yosef. He's going to instill the power of Geula in the Mashiach ben David. But this Yehuda Yosef cleavage is a very interesting. What's hiding behind it? Let's take the names. You take Yehuda, 30, Yosef, 156, together, 186. What's 186? Makom, a place. A place. Where do we see that in the Torah a lot? When we read about the Shalosh Regaim. When I say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you have to come El HaMakom Asher Amar Hashem B'Makom. The Beis Hamikdash is always called Yerushalayim Makom. All the time, Makom. What's Makom? Yaakov Avinu had a dream. This place. What do you mean this place? 186. If you take the name of Hashem and you multiply it each letter by itself. You have Yud time Yud, Hey time Hey, Vav time Vav, Hey times Hey equals 186. When we use the word Mokim, the name of Hashem, it implies that the name of Hashem is in the mood of giving power, strength. When you multiply, it means is haka'ah, you hit. Well, anytime you hit two stones, two silexes, you get light. So when you need this light, you need to be b'malkim. Oh, no, not bad. But how do I get there? Do you have a map? Do you have Waze? How do I manage to get there? I understand now. There is a place called Makim, which is Hashem's place. And you want me to get there. And this is basically the name of Hashem, Behakar. So I force Hashem to give me there the light of my salvation. Yes, I understand that. And I understand it's true. But how do I go? I mean, I could go through a host of gematrias here to show you that in the Beis Hamikdash used to be like this also. It's always the Shem Hashem, Tzion v'Yerushalayim. Why he was in Yerushalayim, the Beis Hamikdash was Tzion. But, you know, we're very limited and we don't want to stay here forever. I just want to tell you, add a parenthesis here before I move on to the end, that with just the midah of the Oiver al Pesha, because the Ari HaKadosh, when he touches up this pasuk here in Likutei Torah, he brings, I'm not going to go into there, how he touches it up. He comes to the midah of the Oiver al Pesha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has the capacity to basically make as never happened. The Oiver, that's it. Like the confrontation of the two kings, the pasuk says, Avru Yachdav, they passed together. They went through the path together. What is the result says? What is the path going to the path together? It means that the midah of Oiver al Pesha, when they are together, HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgives the sin. What did we say before? Yesod, Yosef, Yehuda. Vav, Hey. The last two letters of the Yud K Vav K. Yud K, Chachma, Bina, it's up there. We can't touch them. We cannot solve them without sin. Vav, Hey, these are the problems. We are affected. When you do a good deed in Hebrew, what do you call it? A mitzvah. Is it a coincidence that mitzvah, it ends up with Vav, Hey at the end? So what is matz? The Zohar and the Tikkunim says that matz, if you do in adbash, mean aleph, you replace it by taf, base by shin, gimel by resh, and so forth. Matz is yud k. Yud ke vav ke. When I do a good deed, I'm appealing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yes. The only reason it is hidden in adbash, in matz, because you cannot affect it. Whatever you do cannot affect the Yud K. Yud K is too high. Even Amalek, Kika al Kes Ka, Milcham al Hashem ba'Amalek. Amalek could only touch Vav Hey. We can only affect Vav Hey. Yosef, Yehuda. Oiver al Pesha is twice Oir and Sof. HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings the light. What happens if you take a tremendously strong light and blast it at someone, then you take a camera and try to film him? What do you see? Nothing. He disappears in the light. He dissipates totally. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does to the avoidance. That's the midah of Oiver al Pesha. It's basically to blast the Oir and Soif on the person. Everything dissipates. Oh, Satan, go find him. I can't find him. Where is he? I don't know, because they don't approach the Oir and Soif. So we see here that we need HaKadosh Baruch Hu to come across. There are tools in Shamayim that can help us, despite what we have done, the WhatsApp, Inshul, or whatever. All this can disappear. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I need the marking. I need you to take me to that place where you make light by hitting the letters against letters. That the same place that Yehuda and Tamar were taken, that place I need, because my salvation can only come from there. It says, "V'lo yochol Yosef leis apek." Yosef couldn't control himself. According to you, did Binyamin know about he was Yosef? Or was he affected and I think he was a savage? That Binyamin knew. The Midrash says that before, the night before he put the curse into Binyamin's bag, he showed him a map of the stars in Shamayim. And he says, do you understand this Chochmah? He says, yes, my father taught it to me. And he says, now, look for your brother. So he divided Mitzrayim in 4 parts. And then he saw he was in that part. He divided it in 12 parts, and he saw he was in a palace. He started dividing the people of the palace, and he got shocked. Yosef asked him, my son, what do you see? He said, according to the map, I see my brother Yosef in front of me. And they fell on each other crying. He says, yes, I'm your brother. But before I forgive, before I really let them acknowledge that, I am Yosef, they have to prove me one thing, that they will fight for you. They need you. You, the Mashiach ben Yosef. You are, because for them, Yosef was lost. So I need to see that they really have a charata. Came Yehuda and start making, Biadoni, whatever he said, was all shemes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yosef saw that he was going up and that's the power he was going to use in order to decimate Mitzrayim. Once you have this, you won with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. 600 powerful sword Goliath. Then we take down Og Melech HaBashan and Sichon. Do we really carry the fight? Then 200 Maccabees decimated 1 million people's army of the best trained army that they had. 45,000 Indians came from India with elephants, with tigers trained to fight. Where did they find this strength? These people, they were on the bench and saying a shir a few hours before. You don't understand. You try to bring the rationals down to this world. You have to bring the rationals up to it says in the Pasuk, Yosef didn't want to have anyone standing with him when he revealed himself to his brothers. That's the Midrash. Okay. Why? Because he didn't want them to be ashamed of this. Rashi brings down that Midrash. Doesn't make much sense. The next pasuk, the next words, Vayishma Mitzrayim, Vayishma Besparo. They all heard it. So what did you get? What are you trying to tell me here? He didn't want to have anyone standing. Besides, you call them Ish. And Ish is a title for someone who has shleimus, complete, like we explained last week about Ish Mordechai. It's Ish Moshe. Moshe had reached the shleimus, so he's called Ish. Oh, because in Egypt now they are Ish. No. Ish refers here, there says, to the Sarim. You know why Ish is complete? Because Ish is 300, I gotta tell you one time. Ish is 311. A person is composed by the 4 elements: fire, Esh, Ruach, Mayim, Afar. Ma. Aleph, So Rashi Teva says Aleph Resh Mem Ayin. Arma Aleph Resh Mem Ayin equals 311. When a person has a shlemus, he completed all the 4 elements that composed him. That's why we call someone a ish. So now in Mitzrayim, all of a sudden, everyone that was in Yosef's palace was a ish. The Zohar says no, he's talking about the ministers of the nations. They assembled because they wanted to see that war between Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David, hoping that they're going to kill each other, and there's going to be no Mashiach ben Yosef chas v'shalom and no Mashiach ben David chas v'shalom. So Yosef said, "Get out of here, all of you." Exactly, and this is the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to reveal himself to us at the end of times. He's going to tell all the nations, "Get out of here." HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be under almost, I don't want to call this word like this, but it's a good way, duress. Bnei Yisrael have suffered so much. He has been away for so long from Am Yisrael. He can't hold back the feeling that he wants to embrace them. That was Velo Yochol Yosef Leis Apik. He couldn't contain. Now, if we look in the spheres, the only way you saw, if I can bring it back, where is it now? You see, the world is at the bottom under the Malchus. The only way all the upper spheres can go and send the plentiful is through the Malchus, but through the Yesod. You see all these lines? You see all these lines at the end can only come through the Malchus. There's only one sinor here going down. So all these, by the time of Mashiach, they're going to be like, woof, we couldn't take anymore. We can release finally. That's the idea behind it. And I want to prove it with a couple of gematrias, and I'll let you go because you know that if otherwise it's not going to be my share. It's full of tremendous gematrias, and I need to answer the last question. Velo Yochol Yosef Leis Apek equals 869. Exactly the number when we sing that Pizmon in Yom Kippur. HaKeser lechai oilami. We return the Keser to the Yesod. Yosef receives back his crown of Mashiach, of Melech, of Kudsha Berichu. When we say Kudsha Berichu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who we talking to? We're not talking to a shape. We're talking to the Midah of the Yesod that provides the Malchus. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's too big to be contained in two little things. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, oh, I have a name for him. You're kidding me or what? This is a tiny fraction of the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and one of the lowest midas of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I want to finish on the good one to tell you, where is this one? Oh, the same way we have on Sukkot, we have for 7 days, we sacrifice 70 parim, 70 bulls for the 70 nations. On the last day, it says, Atzeres tiyeh lachem, and the Zohar HaKadosh says, this is what Yosef did, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to do like Yosef at the end of times. He's going to tell, dear friends, you had your time, Esav and Yishmael, get out of the picture. I want to be by myself with Am Yisrael. How many parim we used to bring on Shmini Atzeres? 1. Keneged Bnei Yisrael. Velo Atzeres equals 760 against Shor and Chamor. Shor Chamor equals 7. So we have a mitzvah in the Torah, Lo sacharosh b'shor v'chamor yachdav. You cannot to be choresh. I don't know in English to be choresh the sade with the shor and the chamor. Wow. There goes. It brings a klipa, whatever. Who they are? Yishmael and Esav is the shor amuad. Yishmael is a donkey. But Yosef Bechor shoiro hadalo. Yosef is a shoir. The Mashiach ben David is coming on what? On a donkey. The shoir and the chamoyer are going to finish the other shore of the chamor of the other side once and for all. That's what's going to happen. Atzeres, it means it's a stop. That's going to be the end of their lives. Okay, I didn't tell you the Yehudim in the Shmoneh Esrei and everything. How do I get out of my situation? Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad contains all the kavanas and the yichudim to elevate a person from this world. Like someone shoots an arrow at you, you just say Shema Yisrael, boop, you're up. It's like the arrow goes up under you. A person who's in a difficult situation, who is in a situation where he has no possible outcome within the logic of this world, he says the Yichud Elyon, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. You know that one day I'll give a shir on Kriya Shema, just on these two psukim. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchus Olam Voed. Get ready, it's going to take 3 hours. Only Shemus. If you see how it's composed, every word by how many Shemus, any person has his declaration to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I recognize you are the one and you're the only one in the world, your enemies disappear. Your enemies, basically, the problems melt down. They don't exist anymore. This Yichud has the power to take anything in front of you and make it disappear, not you. Have a great Shabbos, everyone. Bez Hashem, we should be Zoiche to Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach Tzidkenu, Mashiach ben David b'mera b'yameinu. Amen.
Amen.
Chesed u'bracham.
Shkayach.
Bye.
Thank you.